are here with Gary Mayerson from Mayerson and Associates Live. He's with us all the way from New York City via Skype. We're thrilled that he's here with us. He's a civil rights attorney. He founded Mayerson and Associates. They are the first civil rights law firm in the nation dedicated to representing individuals with autism and related disorders. And as we've said, they have represented over 1,000 individuals in more than 30 states, including Alaska. So many of you write in and come to us with civil rights issues, and now you know you can reach out to Mayerson and Associates in New York City because they're experienced in this realm. So Gary, who better than you to talk with us a little bit about Avontes Law and what has been happening with that? Of course, we all are familiar with who Avonte Oquendo is. We were covering the search for Avonte on a daily basis here on Autism Live, and were devastated when the body was recovered and we knew that Avonte had died. We talk all the time about children who elope here on the program and what a common thing this is. But talk to us a little bit about the legal side of this.
Sure. Well, Avonte, unfortunately, is not the only student who's actually eloped out of a New York City public school classroom. I would tell you, even since the passage of Avonte's Law. But the thought was that we could and should secure our public school buildings a lot better. So Avonte's Law was proposed by the City Council. In particular, Council Member Rob Cornegy proposed the legislation, and I supported it. I spoke in front of the City Council, as did Danny Oquendo, who is Avonte's brother, or is actually his half-brother. And Danny worked at our firm last summer and the summer before as an intern, and so eventually the City Council passed it, which was remarkable and was really a good first step towards increasing better public safety in our school system. Then Senator Chuck Schumer, decided that it would be a good idea to, and with Autism Speaks, to present Avonte's Law and make it a national standard. So right now Avonte's Law has passed the Senate and it's now awaiting approval by the House of Representatives. We're hopeful that it will be made the law of the land. And the nice part about Avonte's Law, other than the obvious securing of our buildings and being able to track people who are eloping, is the money that's being set aside for training first responders. This has become such a huge issue. We all have seen on television these horrendous scenes of where there have been police altercations where the person involved in the altercation winds up dead on the street. Unfortunately, for people with disabilities, this is a tremendous problem because of the communication difficulties. When a police officer says, "Show me your ID," or "Put your hands up," or gives any kind of command, compliance issues will often escalate the situation. We saw there was a gentleman, somebody with autism, was with his caretaker in Florida recently, and the caretaker, not the person with autism, was shot because the police officer apparently says he was aiming for the person with autism and missed. So this money from Avonte's Law, when passed, will go towards training first responders so that they will recognize they're dealing with somebody with autism or some other developmental disability, where they should have to be a little bit more patient before either pulling out the gun or getting the gun ready to fire.
Absolutely. And so enlighten us a little bit, though, about what Avonte's Law provides in the school setting in order to keep an individual who elopes safe.
Well, in New York City, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of buildings, and each of those buildings has more than one entrance. Avonte did not escape out of the front of the building where the guard was. He left through a side door. So there was a recognition that, well, you can't have, it's almost like a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And if your weak link is one of the back doors or side doors and it's not alarmed, then kids are going to get out and you're going to have a danger situation. So the new law in New York City, the way it works in New York City, is that all of these extra doors have to be alarmed, such that when somebody leaves that door, the guard that's in the front will be alerted and will be able to take immediate action. Hopefully those extra seconds will be just what you need to be able to get the child back into the school, back into the building, and not on the streets facing uncertain dangers.
Absolutely. And we know this is something that we talk about a lot on the show, that this preventing people who elope from doing something that leads to their death is a many-step process. And I love the fact that Avontes Law doesn't stop at just saying we're going to have alarms on the door. It says we've got to prepare our first responders, and that there's all these other things that we need to do, because we must do everything that we can to keep these individuals safe. We know that the #1 cause of death for autism is drowning, and I believe the second one is death by being hit by a car, and in both cases that the impetus for these things comes from elopement. It is a tragedy on all levels, but when we legally are responsible for sending our children to a school, and the law says that our children are entitled to a free, appropriate public education, it has to be in an environment in which we can trust that our children are going to be safe, even when they are children who elope. So I thank you for everything that you've done on this, and find that Danny is remarkable for standing up and being a part of something that hopefully will prevent the deaths of other children in his brother's name. And we want to give you an opportunity, Gary, to once again say the website for Mayerson and Associates, so that if someone who's watching needs to reach out on a civil rights matter, that they can get a hold of you. So would you mind saying that for us again?
Sure. We have a very interactive website. It's www.mayerslaw.com, spelled MAYERSLAW.com.
Wonderful. We thank you so much for taking the time to be with us
Pleasure.
today.